Welcome back to Stu Studio, Conservative Takes on Music. Aubrey Drake Graham released an album last weekend called ICEMAN. This is the third album in a series of rapid drops, also including Maid of Honor and Habibti. It was definitely the most highly anticipated of the three albums. And not because people had high expectations or thought that it was going to be good, but because he made a huge deal about it. Mostly with his stunt in Toronto, using tons of ice to hide the date of his album release when it was like 2 weeks later. Ice that caused pure chaos in Toronto and eventually had to be sprayed away. But many people were also curious what he would add to the Kendrick-Drake beef that he has clearly already lost. Because I guess on the last two albums he's already dropped this year, he did not say anything notable that anyone could point to as a shot or a clean dig worthy of a response from Kendrick. Maybe that's why he dropped a third album so quickly, is none of his insults back at Kendrick stuck, so he thought he would get in a couple more. But I did think that it was strange to release an album called Iceman with all of the recent ice raids and activity in the United States. Just as a general guess, I'm thinking most of Drake's fans are liberals who do not approve of the ice raids in Minnesota and other cities. He just randomly says ice way too much throughout this entire album for it to be ignored. Maybe he thought the album would be so big that the comparisons would be overshadowed, but let's review the album. This album sucks. That's about it. That's it for now. No, I'm just kidding. You know when a song starts and you hear the artist like riffing over saying, hey, turn it up in the headphones, maybe shouting a few cities, riffing over the opening bars to set up the song? That never really ends on this album. You never hear the energy pick up to something that would sound like effort being put into the song or the delivery. The tone is bored and tired throughout the entire thing. There are almost no beats on this album that have any dynamics or build in any sort of way that makes a song interesting. And like half of the lyrics are just a build-up for some stupid simile. Here are a couple. Blow on me just like some green tea, baby. Kept it 100 on paper like Wilt Chamberlain. I'm flipping dough like Little Caesars, which is especially stupid because they don't flip dough and you don't flip a pizza. I tried one time and it did not work. The charge is like COVID, they'll catch it together. My main question after listening to this album is, when did rap get so lazy? I feel like most of the biggest artists in rap were complex and deep, and it was actually rhythm and poetry all the way up till like the 2010s. I think the last notable good rappers were Eminem, Logic, Mac Miller. Then Drake says in the very first song that he's not going to have big features on the album. Says, I'm all alone for my mentals. But then the album features Future, Molly Santana, 21 Savage. So immediately he lied right off the bat. The first actually listenable song is called Make Them Pay. And at least part of the song is a shot at J. Cole. If you don't remember, the whole Kendrick-Drake beef started with J. Cole on Drake's side with first-person shooter. And when Kendrick absolutely obliterated them, J. Cole just stepped back and said, you're on your own, Drake. Says, I love you because of the history, but if we being real, I could never forgive you, and you never called me back, but destiny's written. So he's clearly still salty that J. Cole admitted defeat, while Drake kept shooting back and just kept getting wrecked. But the song is actually musical, it's got a good beat, and he does some singing, still lazy singing, but his pseudo-singing fits the beat and the samples well. Other songs on the album are called Make Them Cry, Make Them Remember, and Make Them Know. I unfortunately am not well versed enough in the rap industry to know who he's calling out in those songs, but I'm not really willing to listen to them more than once. His song What Did I Miss was the most prominently featured song in his promos for the album, but I think it was all really for the TikTok soundbite of the What Did I Miss, the drop in the chorus, where he just repeats the title of the song, and the rest of it is very much a throwaway. The best song on the album is called Too Hard for the Radio, and I enjoyed it until I realized it was essentially a cover of Mac Dre's song Too Hard for the Fucking Radio. So he even softened the title of a song saying he is too hard for the radio. And about halfway through the song, he very unnecessarily changes the tempo of the song to make it sound more West Coast, but it changes the entire energy of the song and completely ruins it. So even the little bit that he had going for him on this album, he just tanks. What most people were waiting for were Drake's responses to Kendrick's shots. So let's cover a couple. When Kendrick says, "My first one is like my last one, it's a classic, you don't have one," Drake responds saying, "How do they say you got classics if that's shit that you never revisited? And if that's the shit you revisited, then why am I boss of the business?" He is obviously full of himself. Kendrick is performing the Super Bowl halftime show and having #1 songs calling Drake a pedophile, while Drake has to flood Toronto with ice water to get people to listen to his album. Kendrick says, "Beat your ass and hide the Bible if God watching," to which Drake has a lengthy response, saying, "Talk about hiding the Bible, maybe y'all should read a page. Iced out crosses on their necks thinking Jesus saves. Well, even if he does, either way, the blasphemy that you talk, let me know that your amazing grace gonna be delayed. You should be ashamed the fact that you had to bring those talks to get some decent plays. Goodness gracious." But it's pretty rich for Drake to take the moral high ground because in multiple songs on this album, he references being an Islamist sympathizer, sympathizing with the Taliban, the literal Taliban, and then saying, "Maybe Jesus saves, maybe you're right." Kendrick says something about D-Rose coming home, which I guess has something to do with an NBA player. And Drake responds talking about other NBA players from the Raptors and the Spurs and parades. I don't really know what all of that is about, but I'm pretty sure in the end it means Drake sucks at rap. Overall, Drake is almost 40. He's still dealing in petty squabbles in front of the entire world, trying to defend hanging out with underage actresses. He's unmarried, he's got a baby mama, and on this album he talks about spoiling a girl with a house and a Mercedes, but she still cheats on him. So even as a multimillionaire, hugely successful artist, he can't get a girl to be faithful with money. Almost like the money isn't even enough to get someone to stay with him. And it really makes me wonder what happened to rap with its listenability. Kendrick has some amazing beats. His lyrics are intelligent. He's got good rhythm and flow, but his voice also sounds like a voice actor of a Muppet. And I'm pretty sure Drake's voice on this entire album is what my voice would sound like if I mumbled over some half-assed beats. I feel like I've seen many TikTok rappers way better than this. So maybe we're just making the wrong people famous, or we're getting too invested in beef that's making both of these people millionaires, while we could be listening to artists who have actual value to offer. So maybe it's on us, because they not like us. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Stu Studio. Go Avs, and remember, Jesus loves you.